Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shyzalosophy 101. Here's your host, Shyzabox. Oh, they love me! Oh, 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 thank you for that warm welcome. Get out of here. And the horse you rode in on. Oh, Jesus, Louise. Anyhow, what is going on with us today? We'd ask you, but you wouldn't answer unless you put it in the chat. Okay, what's going on with you today? Nope, looks like no one's here, so we'll just ask ourselves. What is going on with us today, indeed, is the question that we ask ourselves. And you might be saying to yourself, don't. But we did, so we do. So we are. Anyhow, we were thinking to ourselves, we got a cup of coffee to go. Why don't we peddle some of our wares? And then we were like, makes sense to us. A, it's almost like working. B, we're going to have a cup of coffee anyway. And C, oh man, is our Kickstarter close to failing? 3 or 4 more days to go here, and you can watch a grown man wallow in his failure. Or grown man baby. Whatever. You know, however you want to chalk it up. Grown man baby. Yes. But, alas, we're here to present to you not only some of our thoughts, but also our wares. Okay. Yes. Maybe not the wares that you want, but, when it involves a custom 3D printed button that says shite, what inherently would you want to avoid in that entire transaction? Any literary work from you? Okay, fine. How many times must we preface this? You don't need to... Oh, where's the damn book? All right. You don't need to necessarily look out 3D buttons. You don't need to keep the book. You re-gift that part. Gosh, it's not that hard. You don't need the book, okay? Though it's rad. Do you even philosophy, bro? No, we don't know how. Well, let us monograph some advanced philosophy for you. Then you can hold conversations with the best of them. Did you read that crappy book too? Yeah, I just wanted the button. Yeah, of course. That's why. But anyhow, as we said, what do we do today? Well, we sit, we drink our last cup of coffee in the morning, and we reminisce of if we set our goals too lofty and too high. You might be saying, well, of course you did. You showed up for work. And believe you me, there's one thing we forgot to do. It's clock in this morning. Hold on, we got to call management. No, they're not going to pick up that way. We're going to have to use some of our advanced communication that we picked up when they pulled shows like, the Colbert Show and, the first go-round of Jimmy Kimmel. Those places were parting ways with their communication systems, so we scored a pretty good deal because our budget is non-existent here of a communication set. So, you might know here, this is from Star Trek, and it can communicate with people that we need to call us. Hey, tell management to call the booth. Usually takes just a sec. Take a swig. They weren't picking up before because they're not usually tending to the phone, but when they finally do, believe you me. Hey, management, we didn't clock in. You better pay us. Excellent. Management, you got to use them to do what they do. Our work. Excellent. So, where were we? Ah, yes, where we were today. We were enjoying our last cup of coffee. Well, we were going to, and then we were like, let's waste our last cup of coffee and spend it with, potential backers. You might be saying backers, more like suckers. It's like, well, don't tell them that. Shh. Share the link now. No way. Everyone's going to unfriend me. Well, it's the price you pay. It's the price you pay for sending us their way. But if it's that big of a deal for you, we'll cleanse the air now. Okay? We won't keep it all just riddled with negative energy. Excellent. Yes. The air is cleansed. So, you might be saying to yourself then, what the hell was all that? Now, don't worry about it. What it was us cleansing the air. And, in essence, finding a segue into us taking another sip of our coffee. Congratulations. You've lasted another 30 seconds of content. Fair enough. Fair enough. We didn't say it was going to be good content. Okay? We're peddling our wares. We're sipping our swill. You might be saying, well, you're lucky nothing else was on. Well, that's not our fault. It's not our fault that they keep canceling all these way better talk shows and things of that nature. Okay? We just heard that they pulled Colbert again. What are we supposed to not watch now? We weren't watching it to begin with. Now we really can't watch it to begin with. Right? But that's fine. You know why? Because no longer do we care to watch. We care to make. We care to create. And that's why we've embarked on trying to give something back to all ones of our fam. Hi, Mom. So, of course, we got a variety of literary works now. You might be saying, they all suck. Okay. You still got to get people gifts for Christmas and stuff like that, okay? And believe you me, if there's one thing that, you don't want to get people, it's expensive ones. So we try and keep all of the costs relegated as cheap as possible, okay? Now, you might be saying, they're still overpriced for what you get. Okay, that's fine. It's because we wrote them. But, some of them can fill a niche, okay? We got our quick lunch note series, okay? Blood-ow. There's like 6 of these bad boys, okay? You might be saying, we don't want any of them. There shouldn't be one. But, well, that's too bad. There's 6 of them. There's probably going to be more. Because they're a quick little series that someone can grab, jump into. Check my music. Well, young change, why don't you email a MP3, is that what the kids call it, or MP4, to punkrokreview, and we will check it there. And or pop your link in the chat. Where's your music at? How do we check your of the music? Huh? Check our of the book. We're selling this shit. We'd love to sell your music as well. Maybe we can come up with a deal where we peddle our wares and we use your music to do such. That would be fantastic. We could do quid pro quo. Right now, we could split the profit of ours of $0 because we have none. We're just banking on our Kickstarter to hopefully go through. But we see we have set lofty of a goal, maybe perhaps a bit too lofty. Get ready, Internet, to see a grown man cry. No, we already watch that all the time. That's the content nowadays. Well, then I guess we better not pursue that and follow suit. We'll just have to pitch a tantrum, pivot, and commence moving forward. Withhold our tears we will, because I guess we'll just have to sidestep and circumnavigate around the issue. The issue there would be we were looking for a little too much for our literary works, but that's our own fault because we bundled it with a awesome custom 3D printed button, okay? So it kind of drives the package deal up on the Kickstarter up a bit, but you get the signed copy, whatever. This is just how it goes. But what there is also, in general, available is just any work or endeavor that someone may wish to embark upon or not. Doesn't matter. So, young change, if you would like us to check your of my music, please commence with having a way for us to check of it without us having to jump through hoops to do such. Because if there's one thing we don't do, young change, it's work. And it's especially work for you when we're not getting paid. So, we would love to check it out. And believe you me, if there's one thing that we do love, it's a good music. But you're going to have to kind of point us in the right direction. Okay, what is it? On your channel? Do we click your of the link? I see no link to click. But if there's one thing that we will do, it's consider it. Maybe leave a comment on the video after it's up of the loaded. Or go to any of them and leave a comment. Hell, go to any video on the channel, leave a comment with your link in it to the of your music. We'll check it out that way when we get a sec. But obviously, we're not going to play that now because it's our wares with which we peddle. So, share your link. Don't share your link. Do what you do. But if you want someone to check out your music, you should probably, we're guessing, if you have the rights to it proprietarily and copyright-wise, you should probably do what we're doing. We're peddling our wares. Okay? We write a bunch of books. Blah-dow, blah-dow. Buy some. Blah-dow. Go to Amazon. Search Shyzabox books. No way. Why not? Because you never get my money, sucker. Oh, well, we can try. We can try by writing books. Books suck. I want a video game or a movie. Well, you get this. Hey! It's almost like a movie, only not good. So, it's like some movies, because arguably, not all movies are good. Some of them are not good at all. But that's how it goes. So anyhow, as we sit, as we sip, as we reminisce on the day that has been so far to this point, we ask ourselves, what then shall we pursue within the confines of our next endeavor? Well, we're already a few endeavors deep. We're waiting on a Kickstarter to go through, you know, or not. Huh. Guess that'll be the show of the time. In 3 days, when that time shows. And it either passes or fails. We'll see. Either it will be funded and successful, and people will get their custom 3D printed buttons, or we'll say that, boy, did we ask for way too much. We shouldn't have tried to profit ones of dollar. We should have tried to profit 50 of cents. And instead of asking for $499 in a Kickstarter, we'll have to ask for $399. And then $299. And then shit, I mean, we can't lose money on the endeavor. I guess we're just going to sit on the books. You know, at some point, we'll just keep posting the $2.99 until inflation catches up and it's a reasonable expense. Be like, all right, asshole, I'll buy your book. I'm just going to re-gift it to someone who digs philosophy at Christmas. It's like, okay, or buy any of our other books for guardians, aunts, uncles, parents, relatives, okay, that do the whole notebooks and lunchbox notes. Handwritten, put them in there, bam, for on the go, on fly. Wake up late, you don't want that kid to cry. You rip out a page of one of these, pack it in their lunch, send them to school. And they're happy when they munch. Or something, I don't know. Sounds really good that way, though. Anyhow, we digress. Our coffee is here, so we sip to make it further less, so that we can get out of here and depart, upon once we do such. Feel free to posit any coffee philosophical chat in the chat, should you desire. Otherwise, we shall quandary as we do. The more sips we take, the sooner we get out of here. You know, if you don't want us to talk, don't put anything in the chat. We'll end the stream super fast. Don't worry about it. We have no problem doing such. We have peddled our wares. The Kickstarter is available. It will either succeed or it will fail. We are 50% complete. We have 3 days to go. Well, almost 50% complete. 48. Again, you know, it's just how it goes. We will check in, we will maintain, we will keep going. We will continue to sip our coffee, but we do have some quandrific kind of things to throw on you. Should you decide to sit through it, as you should probably not, because it is when you sit through that you realize that you're through sitting, and you wasted all your time. You're like, well, might as well go do something productive now, and then, alas, you're like, well, depending on how long of a time or length of time you're waiting on, it's probably too late to do something productive. So you need to put it off until the next day. But if there is one thing that we were told the other day that really did resonate with us to an extent, to a degree, it was when we were told, we heard that if something takes less than 5 minutes to get done, you should go ahead and do it then and there. And believe you me, that's pretty good advice. That is. Yep. We would not argue against that at all. It's logical. It makes sense. It follows the touch it once mentality. And before you know it, you're good to go. Okay? So, that was some very good stuff that we heard. And we imparted onto all ones of thee. Hi again, Mom. So, excellent. Now, let us commence with the sipping of our coffee. All right, let's talk weather. Now, whether the weather is starting to change, if it's the beginning of the season or far down the range, whether it's still a little hot or turning to cold, whether leaves begin to fall or turn brown and orange and, just kind of grow old. The seasons change as the fall and winter come, and there's a lot of yard work to be done. Son of a bitch! That's just how it goes. But you can't always just think to yourself, the yard work will do itself. Eventually, the city will get so many complaints, they'll come and do the work for me. Okay? Because, believe you me, there are usually hefty fines involved in that. So it's not a good way to kind of, go by. But maybe if you follow that first practice of if it takes less than 5 minutes to get done, go ahead and do it then. Maybe instead of, throwing a cup of trash on the ground somewhere, you should find a trash can and put it in that. If it was a bottle or a can, you should have recycled it! Oh! Exactly. Non-recyclers. I hate the world. Well, apparently. But if there's one thing you shouldn't hate, it's our Kickstarter custom 3D printed button if you sign up for it. Oh, fantastic. You tricked us, you... Well, Maybe. Time will tell. About 3 days, time will tell. Did we elicit enough backers, to go to Kickstarter and fund, or, purchase? Because the endeavor is done. The work is done. Here's the 3D printed buttons. Here are the books that you get a signed copy of, and for a nominal fee. An exorbitant one at that. $7. That's too much, I know. You can get a personalized poem recorded within the work itself. Now, as a special treat, every single one will come with a handwritten poem that we wrote on stream. A stream. Not this one. We haven't written any poems on the stream. But 3 days left for the Kickstarter. And we have 25 available entities, 4 of which I believe have been purchased. Or something of the sorts. 25 count to this. We have 3 days left. We have like 2 or 3 poems to write. That's another stream or 2 worth of stuff. And then we will rejoice in real time as our Kickstarter either succeeds or fails. Now, will we be doing a live stream at the exact moment it does one or the other? We don't know, but maybe we should look at trying to line that up. People would love to watch someone fail and feel better about themselves. And we'll do that. We're willing to. We know when we've bitten off more than we can chew. Perhaps $499 is far, far, far too much. Granted, that's to cover printing costs and custom 3D costs. Ironically, additional printing costs. It's to cover packaging materials and all of that. So, when you think we're getting rich, Believe you me, we are not. Yeah, but we don't want to. We want to present a symbiotic, equitable exchange with which anyone who chooses to embark upon this gets to hang out for free without ever having to be behind a paywall and missing any of the not so great content offerings, right? But that's just how it goes, okay? We needed something to, facilitate this endeavor for those who could help facilitate. That's why we created our literary works and endeavors, okay, with which one could, peruse and partake if they choose. But if you cannot, we will not bogart any of this content behind a paywall. You will always have access to the hangouts, to the coffee talks, to the poetry clubs, to the art clubs, to any other endeavor that the channel decides to undertake, especially as Rock is locked up. Those charges stuck. But when he gave us the keys to the studio and was like, hey, don't mess up my channel, we were like, if there's anything we're going to do, Rock, it's get your channel to that full 1,000 subscribers that you could never do yourself. Now, we've been making fake accounts left and right to try and do that, so it looks like we're doing a good job. But, if we're being honest, we're focusing a little more on peddling our wares. Because, believe it or not, we don't need the subscribers. We need the money. We need the Kickstarter to kick off, right? And by need, we want to, right? We pursued a literary endeavor. Hey, no one wants their endeavor to fail, but we understand if our endeavor comes short of its goal. And if it does, we will readdress it, and we will commence and following it again and again and again. And eventually, we will find the 1s to 10s of people who wish to embark on a journey of the mind. Okay? Now, for those who wish not to partake in advanced meta-philosophy, okay, because it's not necessarily a fun read, but you read chapter 1, you get through chapter 1, and you see if anything resonates or sticks out, and you might be able to make it through the whole work. You get through chapter 1, you do that. But say, I hate reading, I only like playing video games, watching movie shows, all that. Yes, yes. That's why the custom 3D printed button. Okay? Get the combo deal meal, re-gift the book, keep the button, obviously. So, that's how it goes, and yes, that's what it is, as far as when it comes down to it. But, when we see individuals like Young Change, if you're still there, not sure, we do definitely love checking out others' endeavors and others' works, okay? We're not opposed to partnering up in any way, shape, or form, or partaking in, literary endeavors and creations with other authors as well. Now, granted, our methods are a little unorthodox, and our means a little, rough around the edges, okay? We kind of sidestep any problem that we see, because we don't, deal with problems. We solve them by dealing with them, okay? So there's, maybe some of our orthodoxies that are a little weird or out there or something like that. But within such, obviously, we're not opposed to taking on and changing elements of any kind of philosophical, interpretations, considerations, that thereof, that are laid out in good foundational arguments and practices, okay? As long as the reasoning and argumentation is good and the logic is sound, then we're not opposed to mixing things around. Now, fantastic. Well, I see that we have definitely almost reached the point of the end of our coffee. We'll take another couple sips, see if we consider anything else with which to ponder, with which to impart upon the aether of the internet of the zones. You might be saying, no, that's enough, end it. Well, when you're asking for handouts, you need to leave the handout as long as possible. Believe you me, there's one thing we're trying to hand out. It's these buttons, but not for free. They cost money. Okay? Unfortunately, if if you want to push one of these bad boys, you got to go to Kickstarter. Okay? Not the hand. You don't get one of those. That's not part of the deal. The custom 3D printed button with the book. That's the deal. That's the Kickstart. But, like we said, if you don't dig advanced philosophy, stuff like that, we have other endeavors with which one could choose to embark on support of the channel. Okay? Stuff like that. We got works. We try and provide them. We try and provide something for everyone. Something that'll, at least elicit a symbiotic exchange. So anyhow, feel free to once again impart any philosophical quandary into the chat itself. If not, we will be finishing our swill and departing from here. So perfect time as well. If you want to get out of here before us, you can always leave, obviously, before us. As you probably should. Because, if we're being honest, whatever content exists from, in essence, the beginning to the end, it's all relatively the same. It's here. It is what it is. Now, you might be saying, well, you've covered different kind of elements and aspects and topics of conversation, but have we? Well, yes, we have. But who cares? So anyhow, we will swig the rest of our coffee and commence with any philosophical quandary that is posited, should it be posited. Excellent. Well, looks like we're done with our coffee, so we're going to be leaving pretty soon. If someone has anything that they want to say, anything at all, feel free to drop it now. Questions about the book? Which one? Any of them. Any of them. No one's read them. Okay, fair enough. I guess that makes sense. Now, we would like a question of ourselves. Okay. All right, well, excellent. Why did we decide to not make more coffee? Now, the answer to that lies in the question itself. Have we actually decided not to? Well, you might be saying, well, obviously, because if you had, then you would have, and you wouldn't have posed the question to begin with. But it's because we posed the question that leads us to believe that there's room for a variable in the answer. Hence, it could reside in the fact that we hadn't quandered making more coffee yet, and so it's not that we didn't decide not to make more coffee, but that indeed making more coffee was not one of the options presented thereupon. So, I guess when it comes down to it, we'd have to think to ourselves, is it indeed worth the pursuit of the endeavor of pursuing making more coffee, or is that something that has gone by the wayside that we should just allow to be a metaphysical thought that departs from our mind into the aether of non-existence, existence, because this is recorded, but non-existence in the aspect or component of there is no more, or no more is made. Thence, upon dissemination of a future viewing of it, should one watch it later, hence tomorrow, the future, a week from now, a month, a decade, a century, would coffee thence be brewed, upon which new coffee is made, and the irrelevancy of making more coffee is actually irrelevant to begin with because new has been created and made within it that of itself. Well, sounds like a bunch of philosophical crap. And believe you me, we love that kind of stuff. So, maybe we'll pursue some more of our transferring endeavors as we need to transcribe over digitally a lot of handwritten created works, okay? We've been busy, okay? Like we said, we didn't want to just want handouts, okay, for some kind of viable, reciprocal, symbiotic exchange of content in one way, shape, or form, custom 3D printed buttons, literary endeavors and works, okay? We don't just want, necessarily handout, okay? We want to present a symbiotic exchange thereof with which funds or helps to maintain the free that is this. Now you might be saying, no one wants this. It's like, yes, but the need exists. because you need someone to be the best of the worst, and that's why we called Daryl Dixon dibs on being such, okay? We call Daryl Dixon dibs. If you've ever seen The Walking Dead, you know. We call Daryl Dixon dibs on being the best of the worst internet celebrity. You might be saying, like, no way, everyone else is better. Well, obviously, we're the best of the worst, okay? Everything else you watch is guaranteed to be better than this, okay? And that is our guarantee to you. On top of that, with our presentation of endeavors such as literary works that we pursue, that we try and peddle our wares of, and such, and we try and do Kickstarter things. Well, our first endeavor with it, okay? We'll see if that's a success or a failure. We hope it's a success. It may maintain failure. We must accept that therein its reasoning and, parameters of potential outcomes, okay? We're not opposed to failing. We'll just pivot and know that, we shouldn't ask for $4.99. We'll drop it. We'll lower it, okay? We won't make ones of dollar. We'll make 90 of cents. If that fails, we'll make 80 of cents, okay? The goal is the dissemination of the work itself, as we did a monographing of Lectin, and we're very proud of that literary work. Hence, it's the first undertaking of seeing what kind of symbiotic relationship we can have with Kickstarter, and that of any potential, individuals who may have consideration for consuming literary works and endeavors and things of that nature, okay? Now, obviously, we'll crank them out. You either want them or you don't, obviously, but they exist, and it's a way for us to give something in exchange for the support instead of just a blanketed, here's money for more content, okay? We want to give something back, so we give hard work and thought. Doesn't look like hard work? Well, believe you me, call it what you will. Work goes into any literary endeavor with which is partaken or, undertook, okay? Like this one itself, the one that we have in the Kickstarter that comes with the custom 3D printed button, there's a reason that we bundled this one, okay? There are over 200 hours, okay, of work in this endeavor. There's 2 decades of study, okay, in this endeavor itself, all right? Easily, hands down, if not a lifetime of study, all right? It's not going to be for everyone. It's not going to be easily understood by those who don't philosophy, okay? And it is very extremely meta-complex, okay? But the work exists. We are extremely pleased with it, with the exception of the 6 or 7 typos that we found in it that we will have to address, yes, and update and fix. Okay? But when you self-publish, when you do your own promotion, when you do your own proofreading, editing, layout, design, writing, copywriting, everything, okay? Errors, typos will commence. Okay? We accept full responsibility. They're on us. Apologies. Okay? It's like a game. How many can you find? Well, I don't want any now. You told me that the book has typos. Well, maybe not. Read it. Maybe they're not in there. Maybe we just don't know what a typo is. Or it is what it is. Okay? Which is what it is. And since we're out of coffee, I guess that's what it is. And we will be departing now. So, once again, get out of here before us, should you choose. We are on our way out, so likewise, we shall restate, we don't need your subscription, we want your money. So, downvote the shit out of this and go to Kickstarter and give us $1. Get off our lawn!